Namaste. So the word abhidana and abhideya or dheya, mahaprana or alpaprana?
Mahaprana. Mahaprana. Abhideya. Fourth letter. The th, the th.
But abhidana, alpaprana,
Abhidhana
the
also
th.
fourth letter. Same. Fourth dha only.
Oh,
Hmm.
abhidana.
Abhideya.
धन्यवाद.
Yeah, Anirudh, go ahead.
So Guruji, just wanted to add what we talked about. The pot will never turn into an apple, right? So in quantum physics, they use this. I'm only saying what I've read and heard or whatever. What they say is that that's the concept of infinity. A human mind cannot grasp infinity at all. But left to itself, any object, a pot, for example, will have to disintegrate. It will disintegrate because of forces of gravity, this, that, other stuff, right? It disintegrates, let's say, into its constituent particles. Those particles have their own particles. Those particles have their own particles, ultimately quarks. That is what quantum mechanics is all about. Then the probability of those particles recombining and turning into an apple cannot be ruled out. And that is the whole concept of infinity, according to what quantum physics makes you think about in terms of let's say I don't know what to call it, progression or whatever. But that's I just it came to me. I just thought since we talk about it and often comes up, thought I'll just mention.
Right, right. So when I said that example, I wanted to say something else, but I didn't say it. What I wanted to say is this. I said that tomorrow your pens are not going to become snakes, pot is not going to become apple. You're fairly certain of it. All of us are fairly certain because that's how the law is, that's how the universe is. But if the pot became an apple, that is also part of the order. That is also part of the order only. I was going to say that, but I didn't say it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, in my hands, I can change this into an apple if I say it. And in front of your eyes, I show it happen. It's part of the order. That power is there. It's possible. All it means.
It cannot be ruled out. Yeah, that's exactly what they say. It cannot be ruled out. It will happen. It will happen.
Correct. So we are not averse to that. We are not. We are open to that also. We just don't see it commonly. Yeah, Premaji, go ahead. So good. So what you said, Anirudhji, is its constituents are all quarks, and quarks can reconstitute.
They can recombine. Yes, they can recombine.
And if they were to disintegrate, I mean, right now it is not disintegrating, but if they were to disintegrate in a particular fashion, in a particular conditions, and then suddenly the conditions turn back, they begin mixing.
Yes.
Any product can come out.
Right. And that they use this to say a human mind cannot comprehend infinity. Because this is happening over an infinite time scale. You cannot comprehend it because it doesn't. Not a daily experience. It is not something that you see in front of you every day. But yes, this is the I don't know, progression is the right word or not, but this is the order of things. Let's put it this way. This is the order of things. Asti laya, and that's essentially it comes to down.
Exactly. So it becomes unmanifest.
Yes.
We use the word Maya, etc. They're using the word quarks. Tomorrow they may use a different word and different entity. Emaji, go ahead, please.
Yes, Guruji, actually, Mr. Indurkar's statement brought this thought out because we had said that dhanam, which is given without respect, improperly and contemptuously at the wrong place at the wrong time and to unworthy recipients is called tamasika. Now, how to assess whether it is going to a patram that is not eligible to receive? That statement was made very well a few minutes ago by him by saying that because it's in the unconscious, we cannot evaluate worthy or not. How do we apply it?
Right, right. How do you know? How do you know your son, your daughter is going to join a university? How do you know which university is good?
You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. And so you have to you push yourself to a positions where you must know at least a little bit, at least a little. You do go to the website, this, that, you call up friends, this, whatever. And through your life, you are being exposed to all these universities, people going to various universities. So you have a rough idea of university. Ivy University, this, that, they say. So you have a rough idea, and that's your basic knowledge of universities. And based on that, you make a judgment. Then, based on the field, okay, what field do you want to study? I want to study psychology. Oh, psychology means, okay, there are other universities which may be better at psychology. So you have to do more research on it. So we are never going to know for sure. We're never going to know anything for sure. And even here, Shri Krishna is cautioning us. If you know that somebody is a perpetual abuser, you can't give, can't, you can't, that person may need a different kind of help, but there are certain things you can't give to that person. If the person is going to abuse what he or she, and in relationships, it's in difficult, right? Especially in relationships, abusive relationships and all. But otherwise, some third party is there. You want to give dana, then you can assist. You can ask people around. Because if you're going to give dhanam to somebody, chances are high that somebody else also has given dhanam to that person or that organization. And so you try to find such, or local people are there. Local people are there. And constantly it happens here. Maids ask for, security person will ask. The other day they asked me, father is undergoing a scan. I need some money. Just he will come and ask. That's it. Now you can't be put on a spot all the time because this is going to happen in India. It's going to happen constantly. So constantly going to ask, and then you have to suddenly decide. Yes, should I say yes? Should I say no? Should I ask more questions? Should I interrogate this guy? And all these questions become practical questions. These are all very very practical questions. So so you have to come up. You can say, okay, let's talk tomorrow. And then meanwhile, you inquire the people. Hey, the security man is asking me, because there are 100 people living here. And did he ask you also the same thing? Can we give the money? Some discussion must go on here. You buy a little bit of time, you can do something. Sometimes you won't have time also. So yeah, Krishna is saying, if you know that somebody is unworthy, don't do it. Or if you gave it to somebody, later on you figure out, oh, this was a wrong call, then that's a learning.
Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Don't do it again.
So it's actually depending on your gut feeling and practical investigation of how sincere that person is in receiving and how sincere your intention is of giving. That forms a perfect dana.
Correct. And also bring in the fact that, hey, I have been put in a position to give. Giving, not everybody can give, but somebody is asking me, means that person thinks I am in a position to give. That's why they're asking. And so giving is a blessing. Giving itself is a blessing. I want to give it with a proper attitude. And you invite the person and give him due respect also. That Shankaracharya said, no? Pada Prakshalanadi and all is there. So you don't have to do Pada Puja for all these people. But that respect, due respect is okay. You said your father had to undergo a scan, medical scan they want to do, because scans sometimes expensive. And so with this money, I am wishing you, I'm praying right now in front of you that your father get better. Look at that. Look at the way we are doing this, right? It makes a big difference in that person's life also. If the person were lying, that person may actually say, no, sir, I lied to you. I don't know.
Sometimes not.
He might say that. We don't know. I don't deserve this money. Sorry, sir, I don't deserve this. He might say that. Because you have done your due diligence and you're doing what the Shastra tells us. And then done with it. Forget about it after. Because it's for my sake now. And no longer it's for his sake. So these are ideas we get when we study this chapter, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Vijayji, go ahead.
Guruji, in the Vedic meaning, you mentioned two things, right? One is you said waking experience, deep sleep, and dream. So Akara is the waking and Ukara is the dream world and Makara is the deep sleep experience, right?
Correct.
This one meaning. And then you also mentioned in Mandukya, past, present, and future. So both are under the Vedic meaning, right?
Right. So this waking, dream, and sleep is the formal meaning of the three sounds A, U, and Ma.
Okay.
Formal meaning. Now you can do formal meaning tells you that Sarvam is Omkara. Huh? Now the Sarvam can be cut into any type of pieces you want.
Hmm.
You can say Panchabhuta is Omkara.
Hmm.
Because there is only Panchabhuta in this universe. I divide it in five ways, and then that is Omkara.
Okay.
Because the entire Jagat is Panchabhuta.
Hmm.
That Upanishad is saying that way. Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyat. Whatever is past, present, future is the world, is the universe. That's the language Upanishad uses.
Dhanyavad.
Yeah. Prasad, go ahead.
So, well, when the Avuma with Mandukya side, but beyond that there is silence. So, I mean, the silence is, I understand the Avuma, which is described as waking dream and deep sleep. But is it not the silence beyond that is what is Brahman considered as?
Yeah, let silence be Brahman. So what?
I mean, we are going beyond those three states, avasthana, then. So when we do pray meditation also, I mean, it is said that in some places you observe the silence, which is actually you are actually observing or realizing the Brahman.
We are not going beyond. We are not going beyond anything. We are giving a name for Ishvara. We are doing Namakaranam for Ishvara. Okay. What is there in front of us is Ishvara. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Whatever you see is Ishvara, whatever you don't see is Ishvara. Silence is Ishvara. Cacophony is also Ishvara. So, yeah, your point of silence is to appreciate when you begin to want to understand what Ishvara is, then you go that. But here, Sarvam is Ishvara. What kind of name I want to give to Ishvara? The waking world also is Ishvara. And so that's why we approach it this way. And put silence also as part of this Avuma. Everything is part of Avuma. Then when the teaching happens, that silence that you're talking about, is it distinct from Jagrad Avastha? That silence you mentioned in your question, that is, you chant Om, silence. Om, silence. That silence that you mentioned just now, is it not there in Jagrad Avastha? Is it not there in Swapna Avastha? Is it not there in Sushupti Avastha? Yeah?
Well, everything is Ishvara, no doubt. But when we are following a practice where we say a sound, maybe we are focusing on and then u, and then ma, and then quiet. So that way, it is, well, silence is part of everything. It is the underlying
Correct.
adhisthana.
Underlying. That which underlies the Jagrata Avastha is that silence, quote unquote silence.
Yeah.
And literally silence. That silence which you can appreciate when you do the japa is there all through. Existence is there all through. Consciousness is there all through. That is what is sustaining Kshetrajna. Kshetrajnancha api mam vitti. Sarvakshetreshu Bharata. Kshetrajna.
Mangana Mangane Angane Madhava.
Which is symbolized by silence in your Omkara meditation. Silence is there everywhere. That silence is there means we have to go from silence to consciousness. Because otherwise people will think of silence as absence of noise.
Yeah.
That's what you, literally, if you look at silence, that's what it is. So silence in your meditation is a way to recognize that existent Sat Chit, which is the essence of this universe. That is why Chaturtham Manyante, Mandukya again, right? Sa
Yeah.
Atma sa Vijnaya, Chaturtham Manyante, sa Atma sa Vijnaya. Hey, this thing is the fourth. First is Jagrat, second is Swapna, third is Shushupti, and the fourth state is called Karaha or Atma. Hey, fourth state, it is not fourth billion, it is not fourth as distinct from these three. It is fourth in the sense that it is that which underlies all these three. In that sense, we call it the fourth. It is just called as fourth, but don't take it literally as a fourth that is independent of, that is distinct from these three. It is independent of these three, but not distinct from these three.
And Prapanchopashamam is also mentioned there, which is universe, silence of the universe. Where,
Correct. Prapanchopashamam, that into which the entire universe resolves. Universe is there, Atma is there. Universe is not there, Atma is there. Anyway, so that is the answer to your silence question.
Thank you. One more question. So when we were talking about the unmanifest, even from the scientific view, it's even is that the evolution. So only when the evolution is mentioned, Darwin's, then so when we go to Satkaryavada, then involution, going back from the seed to the tree, which science may not accept, right? I mean, up to that they may accept, but going back to unmanifest state, universe, that probably science may not accept, right? Today they won't accept that. So without that, so we have both manifest and unmanifest. That's where Brahman is coming and Ishvara is coming. But for science, they don't look at the unmanifest part of it, right? So the involution, which is mentioned, going back to the state, original state, which is mentioned in the Satkaryavada, I believe, so which is missing in the scientific world. So that I think is the difference why they cannot come to that state to understand like unmanifest part of the universe.
The fact that they are investigating quarks tells me they have not come to a conclusion yet. Because if you came to a conclusion, you won't investigate.
Yeah.
See, suppose 2 plus 3 is 5. You don't investigate into 2 plus 3. Is it 5? Is it little more than 5? Is it little less than 5? It should be something else. Did our rishis make a mistake by saying 2 plus 3? This kind of discussion doesn't happen. Why? It is concluded. And the fact that science is advancing shows that there is no conclusion. And we will say, we Vedantis will say very clearly, Naisha Tarkena Matira Paneya, there will not be a conclusion. That is how Aparavidya is. There will not be a conclusion. Aparavidya will not conclude. You can just write it and think over it. Aparavidya will not experience conclusion. Why?
Yes.
Because it is Aparavidya is like that. It is not. And Satsang goes on changing. Every entity can be divided further into another entity. No, it's too small. How small is it? It is 10 to the power of minus 20 meters. Okay? All right, so what? Let it 10 to the power of minus 21 is smaller than 10 to the power of minus 20. There you go. Then 10 to the power of minus 23 is smaller than 10 to the power of minus 22. Then 10 to the power of minus 24 is smaller than 10. Is there an end to it? No end. It's only as good as your ability to perceive all these things. That's all. And this no scientist can say it's done. Game over. I can't say that. Only we can say game over.
Mm.
So therefore, science will not accept that is not a good statement actually. Science, we are not looking for science to accept what we are saying. Because science is not capable of accepting what you're saying. Science is not even capable of thinking of what we are saying. It is like saying, oh, you're talking about all this physics and all that. Your child is not accepting what you're saying. Hey, I'm not looking for my child to accept physics, chemistry, and all. Child will learn it when the time comes. Where is the question of child accepting what the teacher is saying? You know, it is growing, learning more and more. Like that, in the area of science, if science says what I'm saying just now, yeah, I think we are investigating all right. We're going to find quarks now. We found now later on we are going to find more particles, more things which are not quarks. 100 years from now, people will look at quarks and say, what childish idea it is. They got excited after discovering quark. Physicists of 100 years later are going to say that. Okay. And that is how it's changing. So scientists must be smart enough to say, this search is not going to have an end. They are looking for something. So I think, therefore, the more I think about it, I feel science need not accept because they're two different things. Paravidya, aparavidya. Dve veditavye. Yama makes it very clear. Nachiketa. Dve veditavye. Was it Yama? Did he say that or was it Mundaka? I forget now.
Daga.
Yeah.
Para vidya cha, apara vidya cha.
Ah, correct. Mundaka says. And then Mundaka, the Rishi, lists what is Paravidya. And he makes a bold statement. Rig Vedam, Aparavidya or Paravidya?
Around.
Aparavidya.
Apara is
Aparavidya.
Aparavidya.
Yeah. I got a shock of my life, I told you, when I read that mantra. First, somebody explained. All along, I was thinking Veda is Paravidya. Finally, Rishi says one sentence. Then, after listing all the Vedas and Upavedas and everything, Shiksha, Vyakaranam, Kalpam, Niruptam, Jyotisham, Chandasam, etc., he lists everything. All sciences are listed, including Vedas. That itself was a shock. Then he lists Para Yaya Yad Aksharam Adhigamyate. Paravidya. That by which you understand the Aksharam is called Paravidya. That's all. Not categorically pointing to any book or anything like that. That by which you understand this universe, the Satyam of the universe is called Paravidya. Ah, then only things became clearer. Correct?
Yeah.
So therefore, I think Prasad, we in this class, we need to be clear about the science versus, the Atma discussion. Atma Vidya versus Anatma Vidya. We have to be crystal clear. And I think we are crystal clear. But that way, we bring science into it. Science. Science is great because it is also in search of truth. But that truth is different from this truth that we are talking.
The Dalai Lama said very clearly, like when he was asked, when we move away from this body into the world, the science has something to contribute. There's a lot to contribute, which we would like to know. But the moment you go from the body inside, we have a lot to contribute.
Yeah. Very true. Good. Anything else?
And
So
actually, Brian, I mean, the science, when we talk about at the end, they don't have beginning. Singularity is not there, where manifestation. At the end also, like string theory, as the universe is moving away, I mean, the galaxies, stars and all, everything moves away. And finally it ends. That's what Brian Greene, I think he talked about in string theory while explaining. So that's where it ends. For us, like we have unmanifest, all that, right, in the scripture. So that unmanifest part is not. That's my actually original point with respect to this way. The way today what they're thinking is like everything is moving. That's science anyway. But what will happen? That's it. It ends. The life ends.
but they have to go.
Not necessarily
They
that.
have to. They
I
have to
think
go. They have to go beyond unmanifest. Manifest itself, they did not get. Satyam is beyond manifest and unmanifest. So not only by based on what you're saying, we can conclude science is looking at whatever is manifest. Unmanifest, they don't have a handle on. And they have to go beyond manifest and unmanifest.
well, I think on that, number one is that we have to recognize that science is observation in one way, shape, or form. So observation means that all the limitations of the faculties of observation come into play. So they will never get it, right? We know that, right? Now that's number one. And I think string theory, I mean, these are now what cannot be observed. There's nobody that has observed strings anywhere, right? I mean, we talk about it as a theory, or it is talked about as a speculative theory, which could explain certain dimensions, this, that, and the other things. I'm not a master in that. I do not know, but this is kind of what comes about. Now, ultimately, if you take the speculative aspect of it, they say everything is going to turn into a black hole, which to me is unmanifest now. Everything else is going to just collapse. At some time, things will just grow farther and farther apart. Space will expand. This, that, and the other things. Everything is a black hole. Now, that will do you think that is the same as your unmanifest state or not? I don't know. Coming to, let's say, even this Big Bang business, now the people say that it is not possible that a point can expand because that is physically impossible. You cannot have laws of quantum mechanics or whatever be applicable in a point because things repel. You cannot have two electrons in the same place. How can you have the world start? So it has to start from a point of steady state and then expand. I think again, science is or the observational aspect of science is dependent on this lab and that telescope and JWST and this and that. They will not. Right now they're saying they can see light only up till what is that? Not even the beginning of the universe. They get these microwave background which they assume is coming from the Big Bang, but you cannot state that they've seen everything. I think it is probably trying to give too much credence into that as far as that goes, right? I mean, it's inconclusive right now.
So we are giving them a benefit of doubt because of our knowledge of Vedanta.
Yes, so they'll get there. Let's hope.
Okay.
Let's
So
hope
we
they'll
give
get
them a
there.
benefit of doubt, but within the phenomenon, explaining the phenomena of the universe, whatever they are doing is good.
They are doing this good, correct?
It's
Correct.
good.
They're using whatever is available to them and explaining. That's good enough.
And we should come back and say, if somebody says, how do you know science is getting towards that? Hey, Paranchikani Vetranat Swayambhu Tasmat Paran Pashyati Na Antaratman. Kathopanishad. See, this Kathopanishad, the more we study, it's a beautiful story, but I'm finding that some of the greatest mantras are there in Kathopanishad. Paranchikani, hey, you are a scientist. Scientist means Paranchikani is all there is for you. Everything is observable to be observed. To be
Yes.
on a piece of paper, that's also fine. To be conceptual. He says that is not the na antaratman. And Kena Upanishad, Acharya will say, Yadi Yadi manye suvedeti. If you say you know it, you don't know it. Dabramevapi nunam tam vetha. Okay, like that he says. It's very obvious after studying all this that if you are constantly looking, you will not find out.
Correct.
Yeah, Vaidya, go ahead.
Yeah, what I wanted to add to the discussion was science is about understanding the kshetrams, whereas Vedantam is about the kshetrajna.
Correct. Correct. You're right. Kshetram, kshetram. Yeah. Anatma, atma. Like that, we have these words which drishya and drik. Therefore, drik, drishya, viveka. All these words, beautiful words we have. And therefore, drishya vidya has to be apara vidya. Drik vidya has to be para vidya. Correct? Anatma vidya, atma vidya. Kshetra vidya, kshetrajna vidya. Yeah. Good point. Ramuji, please.
In the context of the
Yeah, and then we may say that when we say
okay, in the context of all these people saying about the galaxy being expanding and unknowable, Puja Swamiji was saying, what star you are seeing is star which was there 200 light years before, not a star of today.
Not 200 light years, 200 years. Light
No,
year is a unit.
he was saying 200 light years.
Illama. See,
Oh.
see, light year is a unit of distance.
Okay.
Even though the word year is coming, year by itself is a unit of time.
Time.
365 days is 1 year, but light year is not a unit of time, it's a unit of distance.
Okay.
So you are saying that it is so far away, 200 light years away.
Expansion. Constantly expansion.
Right. So it's mind-boggling. That whole idea is mind-boggling.
I think what he meant, Ramoji meant was that when you see the star now, actually seeing where it was 200 years ago.
Correct. Isn't it?
You're not seeing where is it now?
There is a star. You can't say there is a star. That statement is wrong. There was a star. 200 years ago, the star I'm seeing now was there. That position I'm seeing now. Same thing, sun also. The other day I was giving the example of sun. I don't know if I gave it. If not, in that fulfilling class, I'm going to give. Which is that the sun is just risen. No, sun rose 8.5 minutes ago or 9 minutes ago. It rose. You're just seeing that position now. 9 minutes later, so good. Anything else? Thanks. Good discussion. So, Premaji, when is our next fulfilling class?
It will be at the end of this month, Guruji.
Or
I
end
haven't
of
looked
this
at
month?
that.
Or should it be 1 second? We can pause the recording. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrita Kalasahastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokyanataya Shri Mahavishnave Namaha.